Hey, it's Leo here again for day 4, lunch and learn experience. I know it's Saturday, y'all, and you might have already eaten lunch. You might have had brunch. You might still be doing brunch, might even be primarily in lunch, whatever it is. It's still time for some good old food, for some enjoyment and some excitement. And here's the thing, we're live on StreamYard, we're live on YouTube, we're live on LinkedIn, and we're bringing live content focused on family, business, life challenge for transformation to put you on the trajectory so that you might achieve mastery, pursue mastery in family life and business life. We've been talking about it in the promotion of this 9-day transformation challenge, as well as in the context of it. It is fully embedded the thought process that family life and business life are meant to be teammates and not opponents. Now, I'll tell you, this is a challenge in and of itself to basically have a straight 9-day transformation challenge, meaning there's got to be content every day. There's got to be somebody providing that content every day in the context of the days that generally we may take a rest to do some things and whatnot, which is absolutely valuable. But here it is on Saturday, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We had Saul and Vanessa Delgado of Came to Serve, and they came to serve on this platform of this 9-day transformation challenge focused on family life and business life. And now I'm doing my part. The challenge is to say what you're going to do and do what you say, knowing that it's going to be of tremendous benefit and value for those on the other side. And I'm excited about that. So, we've been talking about the trilogy of transformation. And that trilogy of transformation is, again, the 3 misleading beliefs that cause family life crashing and burning while business life is perceptively thriving and vibing. Then you got the 3 accurate beliefs that destroy the misleading beliefs that cause family life crashing and burning. And then you have the 3 master keys that enable you to begin to move in the direction to experience mastery of family life and business life so that they can be the teammates that they ought to be. You can find yourself in the arena of experiencing high performance professionally and high performance personally, high performance in your career, high performance in your personal connections and relationships, high performance in your profession, and high performance in your private interactions. And so we, over the first 3 days of this lunch and learn experience, focused on the 3 misleading beliefs. We talked about how, number one, the first misleading belief is work-life balance, believing that we can achieve and pursue work-life balance. We debunked that. We talked about how work-life is essentially synonymous and balance is not achievable. And why? Because it is not the appropriate measure to use. Then we talked about the second misleading belief, which is believing that one is more important than the other, believing that family life and business life, out of those two, one is more important than the other. In many instances, we tend to choose business life because of the rewards and the recognition and the ability to sustain our lives. What happens though is that there's a reality that those two exist because of the third misleading belief, which is not knowing that these two relate, meaning believing that there's no relationship between business life and family life, no relationship between family life and business life, believing that they don't play a role in each other's connection to our lives. And so we debunked all of those in the sense of more so just bringing them to the surface to expose them and show that they are flawed. But now we're going to show how to completely debunk them and destroy them with the beliefs that actually overtake them. See, I love this old passage from the good book, as they say, that says, overcome evil with good, overcome what is unproductive with that which is. I be trying to put two words together, y'all got to watch Leo, pray for him. Overcome that which is unproductive with that which is productive. Okay, and so what we're going to do is just that. We're going to take the unproductive and destroy it with its appropriate productive nature of beliefs, which is we're going to focus on the three accurate beliefs that destroy the cause of family life crashing, burning, which is the misleading beliefs. Now, before we go anywhere, I want you to see this unique thing here that I really didn't even think about until now. And that is the three misleading beliefs. They are beliefs that lead you in the wrong way or in an unproductive way. But the three accurate beliefs, they kind of have an implication of leadership, but as it pertains to what they are in essence what they are. They are beliefs that are accurate, and by having the beliefs that are accurate, they are designed ultimately to influence you in an accurate direction. So you can say these are the three leading beliefs, but they are more than anything three accurate beliefs that are able to lead you appropriately in the context of that which is beneficial and productive. I think that's a pretty good lead in for what the master keys are going to speak to, but I'm not going to get to that just now. So let's go ahead and jump over to what our topic is and begin to set this up. The thing that kept being in my mind when I put this topic in the queue was, what's love got to do with it? Oh man, I just kept thinking about Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it? Yeah, she was just getting it down. Matter of fact, I wouldn't listen to it before I got on, just to kind of get it in and make sure that I heard it a little bit. And the thing that I love about the connection between what flow has to do with it and then what's love got to do with it. I could have put apostrophe s on the what, but it just seemed better to say it this way because it's kind of communicating a phrase and a statement at the same time. But I want to talk a little bit about what flow has to do with it. What flow has to do with it. And so Tina Turner's song is important in the context of what we're talking about here, simply because there's a sense that, how would I put it? When we have been engaging in the context of this challenge, day 1, 2, 3, and then the first part of day 4, everything has really been centered around, of course, challenge. And at the base and very foundation of challenge is the questions that are being asked. And in the VIP Q&A experience with myself and Linan, we really tried to focus on how important it is not only that people ask questions of us or that we seek to answer questions that are being asked, but that we position ourselves as people who ask vital and valuable questions of ourselves. So this is really one of those additional moments of being able to ask the question, what flow has to do with it? What's flow? What's flow got to do with it? What's love got to do with it? Okay, that's enough. So When I think about flow, I think about what flow does, but I also think about flow in context of the fact that we're dealing with the first accurate belief that destroys the misleading belief, which is the first one of balance. You've got to think flow is in the context of an action, a result, or an effect related to a cause. See, the question we've got to ask is what causes flow? What causes something to flow? Just like what causes something to balance. And that's one of the aspects related to the issue of balance in one, work life, but also family life and business life. Simply because one of the things I made sure we established when we first begin to deal with the very reality of balance not being appropriate, balance not working, balance having no place in the conversation. It was talking about measurements, talking about evaluation, using the appropriate measures to determine if something is being productive or not. And so what flow has to do with it is saying, okay, if we want balance, in order to understand if balance is the thing we should be seeking, we got to see what type of measure, what type of unit of measure produces balance. Well, weights, scales. Well, is this nature, is the relationship, is the thing that we're weighing, or the things that we're weighing, things that are able to be weighed and two should be weighed in order to get the result of balance? Well, we've already determined that that's not the case with regard to family life and business life. So, when we think about flow, we've got to then, as it pertains to being something that can debunk and destroy this first misleading belief of achieving work-life balance, we've got to say, okay, we want flow. There's flow, and Leo's talking about flow, but is flow connected with a measurement that is appropriate to the nature and relationship of family life and business life? This is good already. I'm excited. Okay. So now that we have the question in place, let's look at what the belief is. What is the accurate belief number one? What is the thing that we should believe? Okay. Before we go anywhere, before I got on here, I just happened to read something from Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. And he talked about in Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, how Napoleon Hill wrote pretty much about the first 100 pages of that book. And then he ended up having a stroke and he was not able to finish it. And W. Clement Stone held on to that manuscript until he found, if you will, the person he believed could actually take that manuscript further. And it was Dr. Dennis Kimbrough who was the person who he reached out to and, had a conversation with about it. And of course, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice ended up being the byproduct of that publishing. Now, I said all that to say this. He made a statement, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. He said, true to form of Napoleon Hill, as he dealt with the things that were affecting the African American, affecting the racial tensions and things of that sort that Hill saw and he believed he could address and provide some support and influence in. Hill started with mindset. The reason it's so important to start with mindset is because mindset determines what behaviors follow. Okay. But I like to look at mindset on the basis of a thermostat. Let's talk about that for a moment before we actually talk about this accurate belief number one that's able to destroy misleading belief number one. So I remember being at a conference and one of the guys that I love to hear speak was on stage and he was talking about mindset and he used the thought process of a thermostat. And now that really touched me because I have a background in the air conditioning and heating industry. And so as he began to talk about it, I begin to see the technical aspects of it. One thing you got to know about a thermostat is, specifically from the troubleshooting side, what you're looking for from that thermostat is that it is dealing with the temperatures of the space, of the environment it's in, and it is calling for heat or cooling appropriately. Okay. One of the things about the calling for heat and cool is that what helps to give an indication, watch it carefully, what helps to give an indication of whether the call for cooling or heating should actually be responded to is the set temperature on the thermostat. Now, let's deal with the cooling side. If it is 80 degrees in your space and your temperature setting is 75 degrees, I just want you to know that there's something wrong with your air conditioning system. It could be something wrong with the system itself, or it could be something wrong with the thermostat and its ability to function in order to respond and call for the cooling and engage the system to start the way it needs to. But here's the thing. Why is that set point so important? Because the set point has the ability to communicate what should be accepted or rejected, what should be received or denied. Meaning, as it pertains to the comfort that is to be delivered in the space, the set point provides the clarity, perspective, and the appropriate focus of what is important for to be, listen carefully, for to be engaged. Same thing with our minds. And what affects how we engage and interact and find ourselves in the position of impact and execution is really, what is it that our minds are set on? What are the set points of our mind? What things set the stage for what we believe, more so what we think? And when what we think then influences what we believe, it then influences what we not only feel, but what we feel empowered to do, or what energy decides to and needs to be in motion to then engage in the context of what we do. So this is why accurate beliefs are so important. One of the things that one of the comments was on one of the past days when we were talking about misleading beliefs, they made the statement of, yeah, we got to get rid of limiting beliefs. And that's true. We do have to get rid of limiting beliefs. But I think that misleading beliefs can be limiting, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a limiting belief is a misleading belief. Now, it may not lead you in the right direction, but a misleading belief is kind of like the difference between being ignorant and misinformed. See, being ignorant means you don't really know. See, you can have a limited belief because of ignorance. You can also have a misleading, you can also have a limiting belief because of misinformation. But the one that is related to misinformation is misleading primarily because there was an intention to cause this person not to achieve. See, not knowing from the standpoint of ignorance is not an assumption or presumption that there is the desire or commitment to position somebody or render them limited on purpose. They can just be limited just because they have not had experience, they have not grown in various other respects. So do know that that can affect you in the context of family life and business life, but the limiting belief is a little lesser. The one you really got to be concerned about is misleading beliefs, because the misleading beliefs really are the type of beliefs that position you to not achieve on purpose. right? And then make you think you're really trying to achieve, but it's always going to put you in a position to where you really can achieve, but you're going to keep trying to achieve. And that's where you find yourself in insanity, which is why it's important to consider that they are, in fact, misleading beliefs. And so the misleading beliefs cannot be substantiated because they are not founded in the base of that which is accurate. That which is not just accurate, but that which really is able to be predictably productive for us, in the sense that we are in the place of truly being able to get value from what we need to get value from when we need to get value from it. Y'all, this is good to me. I don't know if it is to you. Now, what is this accurate belief? Number one, it is achieve flow. In other words, you should accurately believe with regard to family life and business life that they are not only able to, but they are designed to achieve flow. What are you talking about, Leo? Well, let's talk about measure. Remember what flow has to do with it? Well, flow is the effect, it's the result, it's the outcome. But what is it that produces flow? Let's use some phrases, some words: alignment, unity, continuity, putting things in context, which means you must understand, you must know that family life and business life were designed to achieve flow like a teammate. Remember, we've been talking about this, y'all. Now we get into the exciting stuff. We have been saying in the promotion of this absolutely exciting 9-day transformation challenge, this family business life 9-day transformation challenge. We've been saying continuously that family life and business life are meant to be teammates and not opponents. This accurate belief helps to set the stage for that awareness by understanding that they are designed to achieve flow. That business life is designed to flow in and out of family life and vice versa. Oh my goodness, y'all. You've got to see this. You've got to see that it's supposed to look like this. Now, I want you to see something. If you look at it on this particular picture that I have on the screen, there's this reality here. And this reality is that family life and business life are on separate sides. Leo, I thought you said that, these are not two things that you should separate. No, Leo no say that. Here's what I said. I said you cannot separate work and life because they're essentially synonymous. And I'm saying that to be true, and that I actually believe that, because when I talk about family and business, I also say family life and business life. Why? Because family is an aspect of life. It's a descriptive of an area and a function of life, just like on the business side. Business is a descriptive and a function of life, which means family and life are essentially synonymous. Business and life are essentially synonymous. So Leo not saying you can't separate family and business. Follow Myron Golden. He say, "Can I get some help in here?" What I said was you cannot separate work and life because they're essentially synonymous. And what we are doing many a times when we talk about work-life balance is we're calling life family or private, and we're calling work business or professional or public, right? And so because of the way that they're phrased, it makes it difficult for us to really achieve work-life balance because one, the measure is a problem. Then you can't really separate work and life because they're essentially synonymous, which means that, and this goes back to something that I said, it means that we need to be very intentional about how we phrase and articulate the very context and construct of how we describe our life and the things of our life, the functions of our life. And so when you look at this illustration, you look at this picture, you look at this thing that I got for you on the screen, this display, this prop. I had a lot of different words in my head that I was thinking about, which is why it took me some time to say it. I need to slow down. I be trying, y'all. Y'all help me. Pray for me. Okay. When you look at this flow, when you look at this movement here, you see two arrows. I want you to see those two arrows on purpose because one side is actually family life, the other side is business life. And that's how we have to think about family life and business life. We've got to think about them not on a scale that you are weighing to achieve balance, but in the context of a continuity that is aligned for the purpose of achieving flow. Yes. Position family life and business life in the priority of your beliefs, in the priority of your mind, in the priority of your life, that they are more than anything else designed to flow into and out of one another and achieve flow. Yes. They're designed to not be to where you feel like family life is being funded by business life. And if it is, who cares? Why? When it's flowing, it's designed to provide value, right? That's what we've got to see. Now, let me say this. When you achieve flow, and y'all, if you had not checked out the mastermind experience from this morning prior to this session with Saul and Vanessa Delgado from Came to Serve, oh my goodness, they were all in this. Even yesterday, the conversation with Brandon Bell, it was all in the fullness of the trilogy of transformation. Okay. And what you've got to understand is when people, whether they know how to articulate it or not, see, that's why I'm here, because I get to be the scientist, the researcher, and the articulator of these things that these people are experiencing in unique ways, even if they don't know how to explain it. But I can take it and put phraseology to it and give you some substances that you can then take and translate from where you are and what you're doing. But I want you to look at this. I'm keeping this on the screen because I want you to have this branded in your vision, for it to be branded on your subconscious, that this is what your family life. Now, I'm not pointing at you, I'm pointing at that. This is what your family life, maybe I should do like this. Yeah, something like that. This is what your family life and your business life are designed to look like. Family life is designed to flow. What's flow got to do with it? It got everything to do with it, because that's what it was meant to do. Now let's talk about this. Now I talked about my track experience and my cross country experience and my little bit about basketball. And I'll reiterate this. Let me take this off the screen for a moment. I shared with you all in a previous Lunch and Learn experience that when it came down to it, I should have been a runner. Okay. I should have been running cross country and running track and maybe doing, long jump and triple jump in track as a field event, or as field events, I should say. I wasn't really a high jumper. I never really got the thing with jumping up and twisting your back to. I had my best friend in high school. This guy, he was like 6'3", 6'4", something like that. And he really couldn't jump that high, but he knew how to jump over a high jump bar. Anyway, let's get back to the story. So really, what I should have been doing, I should have been playing basketball, even though I could. I was probably one of the best defenders out there. I was a good shooter. I was a good passer. And there were some other things that I contributed to as it pertained to the floor, being able to work off of other people. But I should have been playing basketball. I was a great football player. I'm talking about really good football player. When it came to playing in the secondary, either as a safety, for sure as a safety, free safety, like that was my position. Even my brother, he was like, "Man, you was something else back there." Anyway, um, I should have been playing football, but I should have been running. And the issue that I came upon as a runner was not that I wasn't a good runner. It's that I did not have the right belief system in order to ensure that I could continuously produce in my running at the highest level. I didn't have the high performance mindset. I really had a peak performance belief set, but didn't even have the mindset for it. Because I really was like the peak and valley guy, but I was more the valley peak. Anyway, the thing that I learned in cross country and track, because there's a very unique similarity, because those are team events that have dependency on independent individual and independent contribution, right? So in cross country and in track, particularly with running events, but also with the field events in track, you have the ability to score points on your own and win events on your own. Okay, but your points that you have that benefit you, they also benefit your team if there is a number of people on that team. In high school, certainly that's the case. College is certainly that's the case, right? And then we see that in the Olympics and the world championships and various other aspects. Well, with that being said, what I was actually doing, which is very similar to what people do with family life and business life, is that I was acting as though my independent contribution was in no way connected with the team. Or I was acting as though my independent contribution was in no way connected with other people's independent contribution, right? And so as a result of that, I did not operate in my preparation, my development, my pursuit, my excellence, my hunger, my aggressiveness. I did not behave in such a manner that I found myself to actually be in benefit of, watch it carefully, be in benefit of the flow. Not only did I not benefit from the flow, I actually put myself in a position to where I eliminated the flow of my independent contribution to the team in order to help the team propel. And if you heard me in my talking about this experience, I mentioned how my senior year when I quit, the team, one of the guys actually went to the state finals. And if I would have been on the team, I could have made a contribution that would have positioned us to not only go to the state finals, him as an individual, but we could have went as a team and still been able to bring back some absolutely wonderful opportunities and trophies. We could have won the state championship, but why didn't we? Did it hinder that one guy who was really a year behind me? Did it hinder that one guy from achieving excellence and making it to the state finals? No. But did it hinder the team that also depended on the contribution from making it to the state finals? Yes. Now take that, translate it over, transpose it over, move it over to this thought process of family life and business life, and understand very carefully that what happens is in business life and family life, what happens is, I need y'all to get this. People fail to understand this right here, that family life and business life are meant to be teammates who are designed to achieve flow between one another. They have unique contributions that are designed to benefit and provide value for one another. Like this is really so basic, but the truth is it's a problem that people are not actually experiencing. It's a problem that people are wanting to see the fruitfulness of. You might be one of those people, but they're not actually able to experience it. It's frustrating. You know, this is why family life crashes and burns. Now, there's two other beliefs which we're going to talk about over the next two lunch and learns. But this one starts the cake. This one is kind of like the surface level. Like if you notice, balance was the surface level. The one below it was kind of like the deception level, which is the that misleading belief of making one more important than the other. And then that lower level of it is essential, it's a core aspect. That one dealt with relationship, and the next two are going to follow the same type of pattern. But this one right here, you gotta get this one. See, you may not be able to achieve balance between family life and business life, but you can achieve alignment that can produce flow. See, when you align them as they are really designed to be aligned on a continuity structure, then what happens is you begin to see how it doesn't matter the quantity of time. See, let me say this real quickly. I've heard people speak from the perspective of, it's not the quantity of time, it's the quality of time. And then I've seen those same people have concern or question and not have an absolute conviction about saying that or making that statement. But remember, if you have in your mind work-life balance, if you have in your mind the very context of, how would I put it? The Not only the misleading beliefs, but the disregarding and illegitimate, insane thought process that really doesn't provide value. What happens is you don't really get to have an absolute conviction about the things you're saying and believing because they're not really predictably productive in the way that they ought to be. Quantity of time is good, but quantity is more of a statistic or a static aspect. Quality is not able to be measured in the same ways that quantity is able to be measured. Now, let me take a side note in giving you some perspective here, coming from my background and in research. Remember, if you started with me on the first one, I think I mentioned the first lunch and learner mentioned that I have a background in data analysis, research, and things of that sort. My actual title was survey research analyst. Okay. So survey was my primary focus. Research was a part of that focus and one of the main aspects. And then you had the very reality of, listen carefully, analysis, because I was an analyst, right? And so, by all of that being the case, there's this reality. I had something that happening over there. I had to deal with it. There's this reality of the distinctions between the aspects of quality and quantity measurements. All right. I want you to be very clear on the distinctions. I had to measure quantitatively and qualitatively. When it came to qualitative measures, these were measures that I could truly analyze by doing using data and taking that data that was static and measurable. It was in numbers that could be actually used by programming and statistical functions and things of that sort to get some percentages, to get some ratios, to get some variances, some averages, some means, all those types of things. That's static data though. Static data really is designed to point us to the quality data, point us to the more organic data. Static data is organized data that actually points us to and gives us view into the appropriate types of organic data that we are to look to. So in the same manner, we have this idea of quantity and quality of time, that what it's really communicating is that we need quantity time, yes, but we need to have quality of time that's able to influence the quality. We need quality of time that's able to influence the quantity of time with an appropriate presence of mindset, whether you're physically present or not. Very important. I know I probably said a lot right there, and that it might, ruffle your feathers. Just stay with me for a moment, because I'm getting back to it. What I'm really trying to get you to understand in somewhat of this rant is this: when you have the proper belief, when you have the accurate belief about the effect in between family life and business life, the measure that you utilize and the result of that measure, which is the effect, you have the right pursuit within the context of it. So when you are achieving flow, what flow has to do with it, when you're achieving flow, you actually look at quality more than quantity, because you understand you can never really equally put the same amount of quantity. That's why you can't deal with balance. Oh, you can deal with flow and have an unequal and a disproportionate exchange of the quantity of time. You can do that. Energy, effort, and even resources, which is why the family doesn't necessarily fund the business, or the business seems to more than anything fund the family. But guess what? The family can fund the business, by the way. I don't know if y'all know that, but the family can fund the business. That's when they are appropriately aligned and fueled in a certain way. I'll tell you one of the ways that family really funds business. Family doesn't necessarily fund business in the current generation. Family funds business from the aspect of generational wealth that is in the form of inheritance. Come on. In other words, business may actually fund immediate family that is alive and existing. But if the immediate family that's alive and existing handles their business and their family within the appropriate context of flow, they can actually fund business for family to come. Oh, I know I just said something that might have went over somebody's head, and then it didn't just go over other people's head, and it resonated with them and connected with them. Listen, if it connected with you, you need to join our community, because we get ready to take people a whole lot further in those types of things. And if it didn't resonate with you, you probably still need to join the community, because you need to be connected. And how you can do that is there's a link down below or up above, depending on where you're viewing this. And you can click on that link and it'll take you to, or maybe go all the way down to a page. It'll show you how you can do that. But listen to me carefully. When you have the right perspective, the accurate belief about what measure produces value in the context of family life and business life, and determines whether or not these two are operating the way they ought to operate as teammates, not opponents. See, when you use balance, they got to be opponents, because you're pitting them against each other. So you gotta try to put equal amounts of time. You got to try to put equal amounts of resources and energy and effort. You got to try to, but it's insane, because it's not achievable. It's not possible. I know I'm on a rant, but I'm just trying to show you how you debunk and destroy these misleading beliefs with the accurate beliefs. Okay. With that being said, there's a reality that when you know what flow has to do with it, and that the flow is the thing that positions them to be teammates, not opponents anymore. Then you start to see how this over here flows into that. This even goes back to the statement that I made with regard to it is the private experiences that we have, the rewards we get in private that are not necessarily tangible, that actually stand as the proving ground and the launching pad of the value that we deliver in the public, in the professional environment, where we're able to get the productive, profitable, tangible means of rewards. Oh, that was good. And it should be good to you. Flow is what you must know is pivotal, critical, and beneficial for you. Now, let me give you an example. Let me pull this up on the screen. Let me go ahead and make it pretty large for you. I want you to look at this. This right here is an example from Grant Cardone, and this is something he talks about in one of his books. He talks about it, different times, and some of his past content. And I brought this to bear because one of my clients actually mentioned this to me, and I was like, man, this is perfect. Now there's some other wheels he has like this that actually has like some other details and whatnot, but this was good enough for me. This right here is a perfect example of how we look at flow and how we consider the benefit of flow and how we consider the very context of business life and family life being teammates and not opponents. Here, there are a number of things that we see. First and foremost, we see that there's not an equal amount of time distributed between family life and business life. Come on, somebody. Y'all know this is so powerful. There's not an equal distribution of time, nor therefore energy and effort between family life and business life. This should be exciting first and foremost. Like, it's like, yay. Now you may say, is this guy who put this together experiencing, family life crashing and burning? Or, well, I can tell you, it doesn't sound like he's experiencing family life crashing and burning. Matter of fact, it looks like his family life is thriving and vibing while his business life is thriving and vibing. And they are absolutely experiencing increased productivity and profitability on grand scales. Okay. Let me just call it what it is. Now, that may just be a perception, but when it comes down to it, it's actually working. I don't see them getting a divorce. Now they might later on. I don't know. I don't believe that. I'm certainly not speaking that over them. I'm just telling you what I see is more than anything, this is an example. This is an illustration of the truth, the accurate belief that there is a necessity to pursue flow and not seek balance. It's a necessity to achieve flow and not to seek to achieve something that insanely is not impossible to achieve, which is balance. Again, I got to say this. There's not an equal distribution of time, energy, effort in between family life and business life here. Now, let's look at something else. In the context of work, this came out in the conversation that I had with Linan in the VIP Q&A experience. And I briefly mentioned that as I looked at this structure, I saw what we've got to understand is that our lives are not designed to be in silos. Okay. When I say that, it's important to understand that work represents other people that are designed to be influenced by your life. That could be coworkers, that could be partners, investors, that could be vendors, that could be customers, that could be politicians, that could be citizens. It could be so many different nuances of people. But what I see is that, let me tell you the power of the family. The power of the family is that the family does not need 100% of the time, nor does it need majority of the time. It, in fact, does need a quality amount of time in order to continue to prove and validate and put an aspect of the family's fire and vibrance into them for what they are designed to do, not just for the family, but for the environment around them. My goodness, this is good. You see, we're not designed to live in silos. Our children are designed to be prepared to then go and be what we are to them. Now, I'm going to share this, the 3 C's of existence and the 3 C's of life. I talked about the 3 C's of life in one of the lunch and learn experiences. And I talked about the three C's of existence in one of the masterminds. But I just want to mention it to you and bring a perspective in as we get ready to close this. The 3 C's of existence are creation, connection, and contribution. Like, we exist to create, we exist to connect, and we exist to contribute. Not only we exist to create, to connect, and contribute, it is because of creation, because of connection, and because of contribution that we exist. All right? But what's interesting is the 3 C's of life, or you can even say the 3 C's of living, they actually communicate. Watch this. They communicate starting with contribution, such that contribution, as the first, leads into compensation and consumption, right? And the interesting part about these three is that they are designed to be teammates, not opponents. But we tend to treat them that way, right? In them being teammates, they need each other. They can operate independently, but they need each other in order to exist and function appropriately. So you can't really have contribution without compensation and consumption. You can't have compensation without contribution and consumption. You can't have consumption without contribution and compensation. Like, you need them for one another. With that said, while they need one another to exist, you can only prioritize one. You can only prioritize one. And you must prioritize one because that is the one that really gives the focus of what you believe and why you believe it. See, in the context of the accurate beliefs that actually debunk and destroy the misleading beliefs, what's very important is that seeking the accurate beliefs, desiring the accurate beliefs to destroy and debunk the misleading beliefs, reveals what it is that you prioritize. If you prioritize business life, you're going to experience family life crashing and burning while business life is thriving and vibing perceptively, illusionally. Because it's just a matter of time before business life actually suffers as well. I said this yesterday. Southwest Airlines actually has already proved that. When you prioritize family life, what happens is family life gets treated not like a stepchild or something that we just got to deal with, but something that is pivotal in ensuring that the business life and its pivotal reproductive function and benefit is actually held in the proper perspective. So it's absolutely necessary to make sure that we prioritize family life, though not necessarily putting ourselves in position to, listen to me carefully, to prioritize that the amount of time be spent with family life over business life. See, one of the reasons I think from my observations that business life requires more time is the connection pieces, which are designed to take from family life our intimate connections and the value of our intimate connections and how they grow us for the purpose of engaging us in our business environment, because there's a need to see the reproductiveness from our relationships privately to go into the public and the professional in order to help spread that love and that vitality of private vitality. It's designed for that. It's why there should be a concern for the people in the business more than the processes and the productivity and the profits. So these businesses that are not really caring about their people in certain ways, but they're expecting productivity regardless, I guarantee you, you look at it, you'll see some family life crashing and burning elements. Flow is pivotal. Now, there will be times, and there are times that you should prioritize family and that you will be spending more time with family, holidays, special occasions, vacations, staycations, whatever the case may be, there will be those moments. But one of the unique factors is that, and Saul and Vanessa really talked about this. They said this: family life and business life pretty much are together. They should be together. But one of the things that's so beautiful is that business life flows out of family life. Business life comes out of it. And I was like, ooh, they in what I'm talking about later. So listen, as it pertains to the very context of achieving flow, what flow has to do with it, I hope that you really have gotten the connection with the perspective and that you felt it, that you've heard it, that you now seek to believe it. And at a minimum, you should know it will debunk and destroy that misleading belief of achieving work-life balance, which is not achievable, and put you in a position to where you can see family life and business life be the teammates they were designed to be. Let me close with this. I think about basketball because I've coached basketball right now. And there's a sense that when you think about basketball, you may have your star player or star players. But just because you, for example, I think yesterday or today, one of these days that I'm doing this presentation is Michael Jordan's birthday. And Michael Jordan was the leading scorer on his team. We know that. Those who follow sports like that. But Scottie Pippen was a force to be reckoned with. Luke Longley was a force to be reckoned with. Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper, Steve Kerr, right? Like we can go down the list. Dennis Rodman, Robert Parrish. Like you can go down the list about the people who were powerhouses on the various different teams with the Chicago Bulls in their winning seasons and things of that sort, or even not in their winning seasons. It doesn't matter. Just because Michael Jordan was the guy who was like the pivotal representation and everybody was checking him out, it doesn't mean that nobody else on the team mattered. Matter of fact, it doesn't mean that anybody else on the team were opponents of Jordan. Mm-mm. All of the people on that team, though Jordan seemed to have gotten most of the limelight, most of the recognition, most of the press and all those different things, while he got all of that attentiveness, in other words, he was getting more of the quantity, it did not mean that he did not get, I'm sorry, it did not mean that the other people, though their quality was less, did not, I'm sorry, their quantity was less, did not get any of the quality or produce any quality for the team. Guess what? When Jordan was practicing, guess who else was practicing? They were. When Jordan was playing, guess who else was playing? They were. When Jordan was scoring and they were not scoring, who was still on the floor playing defense and who was getting rebounds and who was actually helping to run plays and set screens? The other people on the team, right? Just because the numbers were not the same for the other players did not mean their quality or value or even contribution to the team was any less valuable. You got to see the same for family life and business life. What we did see is that there was a unique flow on those teams, regardless of any criticism. There was a unique flow such that those teams were predictably producing championship results year after year. That's powerful. Let's ask this question. If your family life is crashing and burning while business life is thriving and vibing, perceptively, illusionally, is it possible for that to be eliminated, for that to stop? Well, we've established today by virtue of communicating this first accurate belief that it is possible and that there is a trajectory that family life and business life can be set on in order to move in that direction. Question is though, can you move it in the direction to where it is predictably producing high performance levels over and over and over again? The answer is yes. And guess what? You need to come back tomorrow to get some more of it because we're going to give it to you. Listen, I appreciate your time. Listen, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us wherever you can find us. Join our community. There are ways you can do that in the description of this particular video, above or below or somewhere around it. Join the community. Find yourself in the environment to begin to truly experience the predictable, productive benefit of mastery of your family life and business life, where they are operating as teammates and not opponents. But also know this, that there is a value in being challenged, because in the challenge is where you are set up and put in position to experience transformation. Listen, I'm out of here for today, but tomorrow we coming back. We got a mastermind experience, we got a lunch and learn experience, and then we got another VIP Q&A experience. Join us again, and make sure you like, share, comment, all of those wonderful things so that others can be challenged to be positioned for transformation. You hear me now? You take care. All righty.